Hey there, in this video, I'm gonna give you 2 easy strategies that you can implement before you leave for your pageant so that you can clear your brain and compete feeling light as a feather, and so that when you return home after your pageant, you will not be stressed out. My name is Alycia Darby. Welcome to Win a Pageant. I'm the founder of winapageant.com and the Win a Pageant Academy, where we help winners like you prepare for their pageant and for life. And these 2 strategies that I'm going to share with you today are ones that I continually implement on a regular basis anytime I leave town, not just for a pageant, but for any reason. Now, I actually learned these because when I was competing in pageantry, I was doing many other things, as every great pageant woman does. You're involved in like 20 gazillion other things. You might be attending school, you've got a full-time job, maybe you have a bunch of different things that are on your plate between kids and social activities and all of your community service efforts. There's a lot happening in anyone's life. You know the saying that if you want something done, give it to a busy woman? Well, it's true. We get things done. Okay, but we have to learn these 2 strategies so that you don't have all of the weight of the world on you when you leave for your pageant. And so that when you return from your pageant, you're able to continue with things without missing a beat. So these 2 strategies are really important because what I've found is that you may have listened to a previous episode of mine, The Girl with the Most Energy Wins. And anytime you show up to your pageant and you have these energy leaks coming out of you, like, whoops, I forgot to send that mail. And oh my goodness, did I turn off the toaster? And oh, wait a second, I never called to make the kids' dentist appointments for next year. When those types of things are on your mind, and as women, we are able to function usually with things like that on our mind, but they do wear you out. And when you go to compete in your pageant, it's like being an Olympian. If you're going to the Olympics, you don't want any of those things bothering you. You can't have anything else in your mind. You've got to be able to think clearly, and you've got to be able to present your best self. Okay. So the first thing that we are going to acknowledge is that, yes, you have a very long list. Some of those things on your list are able to be accomplished in 5 minutes or less. Okay. Calling the kids' dentist and just booking those appointments already. Taking your stuff to the dry cleaning so that when you come home, you've got clothes to wear. Running the load of towels that you've been putting off for 4 days. Okay. These are the types of things that I know, because this happens to me too, that just get on, like they are just like loose things flapping in the wind. And if you aren't careful, you'll go to your pageant, you'll have all these loose things flapping in the wind, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, I just can't even focus. Here's what you need to do. I want you to get out a blank piece of paper, but blank. This one's not blank. I want you to get something blank. Okay. And I want you to start writing down all of the things that are on your brain. Okay. Now, if you're anything like me, I tend to have these types of lists everywhere. I've got a Post-it note right here on my computer. I've got a giant list of things, sometimes multiple things in my phone, on my notes. I've got Post-it notes and things like this. I've got one on my refrigerator. They're everywhere. Find them all, gather them together, and put them on one list. Okay. Now, after you've got that one list, you're going to separate it into 2 different categories. The first category is the things that can be done in 5 minutes or less. If you know that this thing can be done in 5 minutes or less, I want you to do it before you leave for your pageant. Okay. Now, the second thing that you can do, tip number 2, is I want you to actually leave for yourself the remainder of the items. Now, if you were me and you're crazy, you'd probably want a whole new list with all of those things freshly written. They'd probably be somewhat organized or something. Okay. This is what I do anytime I leave for a trip and I'm going to kind of be like checked out, especially on vacation or something. You want to be able to be fully present at your pageant. And if all these things are weighing you down, you won't be able to be your very best self. So first thing you're going to do is make the big list and divide it into 2 categories. Then strategy number 1, knock off the things that you're able to do in 5 minutes or less. And strategy number 2, leave a note for yourself for the things when you return. Now, let me give you some examples of what this might look like, because you're like, Alycia, duh, like this is like the easiest, like, come on, this can't be a real strategy, right? But it is. I promise you, as your pageant gets closer and closer and closer, all of the things come up. the women that compete who are in the Win a Pageant Academy with me, we do not do any training the last 2 weeks. We don't teach them anything new the last 2 weeks before their pageant, because you have so much already happening on your plate. That's not when we're doing your mock interview and we're figuring out, finalizing your this and that. Like, yes, things do come up and you will be prepared to address them, but we want you to be prepared so far in advance that all of the little things that come up the 2 weeks before your pageant are no big deal for you. Okay. That's what this strategy is going to help you do. So what might be some examples of that? Well, for me, it's things like when I have an event coming up, a pageant, or perhaps you've got a vacation or something that you are doing that you know you're going to be out of office, you're going to be out of your normal routine. I want you to look at the 2 weeks happening, of course, the time that you're gone, but also for the 2 weeks after you get back. And I want you to look for things like birthdays and social activities and weddings and all of the things that you might be able to prepare now so that when you come back, you're not running out trying to get a wedding card for your niece that's getting married soon. Okay. You've got a great card. The last time I went card shopping, I got a card for my niece who's going to be getting married soon. It was adorable. I was like, this is the perfect card. I don't need to wait until months from now. I'm getting the thing right now because I know it's coming up. Okay. Gather all of the things. Now, specifically with mail, what I do is I don't put the stamp on until it's ready to go out. And instead, what I do in the top corner is I put the date that I want to mail it, 5/19. Okay. And then I set that mail aside because I know on 5/19, this is when that letter is going to be going out, and I can add the stamp and stick it in the post box. That's the kind of stuff I want you to start to be thinking about so that you can simplify your life a bit. Okay. Think about the things like your house cleaner. Think about the groceries that you could do. Every time I leave for a trip, before I leave, I put everything into the grocery cart. We do most of our checkouts where we pick them up. So we check out and then we go to the store and they put it in the back of the trunk and then we head home. And so before I leave the house, I can see that there's nothing in my refrigerator. I'm going to stick it all in the cart so that while I'm on my trip, I can click checkout. And then the next day when I arrive home, I can head to the grocery store and I don't have to worry about it. These things, I promise you, are going to make a massive difference. Not just because it is absolutely going to make you feel organized. It's going to make you feel in control instead of feeling all over the place and like you can't be your best self. But what it's also going to allow you to do is to give things to other people to do. Okay. So for example, your husband, you might be like, oh my gosh, I've got this. I got these millions of things happening. And your hubby's like, how can I help, honey? How can I help? And you're like, I don't even know. I just have so many things on my list. I can't even think about how you can help. Well, if you have the list in front of you, you could be like, babe, thank you so much. I'm so glad you asked if you can help. Here are the 20 things that you could probably do to help me. Would you be willing to drop off this pile of clothes at the dry cleaners? Could you run that last load of wash before you guys take off? Things like that, you can absolutely help other people to get involved. And you can contact people in advance. Call your house cleaner before you leave. So you can say, hey, I know I'm going to be coming home at this time. Would you be able to come this day? Okay. Setting your appointments, all of that stuff can be done well in advance. Okay. So I do not want you to be stressing. Instead, you will be shocked at how many things you think are going to take you a full 5 minutes really only take you a minute and a half. And when you sit down to get them done, you only need 30 minutes or something. You're going to boom, 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 get all these things done. You're going to be like, I'm feeling freer already. I'm feeling free just telling you about this right now. Okay. So I want to know from you in the comments below. Tell me this. Tell me, what is something that you know by getting it done right away, it's going to relieve a ton of pressure for you during your pageant experience? What's that thing that you're like, this is what I need to do before I leave? What is it? Tell us in the comments. It'd be awesome to get a big list going of what are all of the things that we could help each other out and be like, oh yeah, whoops, I need to do that too. What are the things on your list that are going to relieve that pressure from you? Hey, if you love strategies to help you win on stage and in life, hit the subscribe button so you never miss anything. Click the notifications bell so we can always be in touch. And I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Bye for now.